He beat me up as a director.
Yeah, he beat you up. Well, I mean, sometimes you need a jolt to the system, I think, right? Sometimes you need that. When Omari Hardwick was a defensive back at the University of Georgia, he was on his way to becoming one of the all-time Georgia football lettermen. And years later, now that he's fully vested in Hollywood, he's well on his way to becoming one of the all-time greats in this industry, too. He wrapped up a successful run as Ghost in Stars' Compelling Power, and now he's starring in a terrifying horror film, Spell. We chat. What made this the right move for you after that really successful run?
Coming out of Power, there was a conversation that was had prior to going into Army of the Dead. And Army of the Dead was movie number 2. I did a movie with Nate Parker, movie number 1. But with this guy, Mark Tonderay, Kelley, was the first time that a director came to me and said, with all of that I just mentioned, Kelley, inclusive in that the directors I gave shout outs to, he was the first director who said, you haven't done enough to me yet. And to say that coming off of Ghost, who I felt was 30 people in one, he brought up vulnerability. And I said, and I didn't get defensive. I said, man, this is awesome. Because of being an athlete, Kelley, I took it as a challenge. I said, but was Ghost vulnerable? And I said, I'm asking innocently. And he said, sure, he was, but not to where I think not only we would need you for this film that was about to shoot 5 months from that conversation, but where the world should see you. Like you're cheating the world and the culture if they don't see all the last drops of how vulnerable you can be. They've seen how powerful you are. And maybe not in a Marvel film, but they've seen how powerful Omari can be. They've never seen how broken you can be. And so that's why it was right, because Ghost was so the opposite of being broken until the very end, until the fall. He wanted me to start off broken. And I thought, oh, wow, this is right.
No, I love that he said that to you because, I mean, I walked away from this film thinking, I don't know if I've ever seen you portray that many layers, you know, in a character before. Like, I really thought that this was an expansion of the depth that you bring to the table. Did you feel that same way about what you turned in?
Yeah, but I'm most proud that you just said it. You took it to another level when you said, did it do that for you, Omari? And I went, yeah, while doing it, it did. But I didn't know if people would see what Mark wanted people to see. So for you to see that, then Mark will hear this interview. I know he will, and he'll be very proud. Because he beat me up as a director. He beat me up as a director.
Yeah, he beat you up. Man. Well, I mean, sometimes you need a jolt to the system, I think, right? Sometimes you need that. You hang out very comfortably in just about every genre, except you hadn't done horror until now.
Put you down.
Hey!
This is for your own good.
What was that like for you?
It was like being a kid again, into those moments where, you know, I had grandfathers and a father in my life. And so they would be like, yo, you can't be broken like this. We're not getting to point C if at point A you're this broken. So I figured that out and how to put my shoulders back and walk through life in a way that people have seen men who look like me and women who look like me play characters. We have to be this in the characters we play. Shout outs to Jordan Peele. And so this allowed me to be broken, which is a nice little moment and I could release any leftover whatever that I had from Ghost. I used this character to release whatever I needed to finish with Ghost. I used this character to do it. Army of the Dead, he was still cool, but like this character, oh my God, therapy overload.
Oh, overload. I'm glad you said it. You know, what types of roles do you find yourself gravitating to, especially, you know, in the aftermath of doing Ghost?
There's a through line through it all, and that is to bring Gil Scott-Heron to life.
Yes.
That's never gone anywhere. So there's that. And Nate Parker stays on me, and Regina King stays on me about that. Because I first went to Regina asking her to direct it, and how great would that be? Like, that's
amazing. Yeah.
Nate wants to direct it, but I think I could pull off a whammy, a double, duty and get both of them to direct and co-direct. Like, I think I could pull that off, which would be crazy.
That'd be amazing.
And then there's the desire to get over to the Marvel world and to be able to hang out with, you know, my late great friend and Chadwick, who's hanging out right there behind you, either to your back left or back right. Like, I need to get to the Marvel world. It needs me as much as I need it. And whether Marvel knows that or not, you know, and DC Comics the same, whatever it may be, that world. I think bringing some of these great books to life, some of these great books that we have, Kevin Hart and I are creating some opportunities together, stem from books that the world will know about that I, you know, can't speak on. But I definitely think that Ghost proved to me and taught me, because he was so aspirational, that there was no sky to his limit. And maybe Omari's sights, well, not maybe, Omari's sights are even more. Ghost never went to New Zealand, Australia, Israel, Italy. I've been all over the world. We forget that when people try to handcuff me to Ghost. Ghost has been to New York and Miami, but he ain't really been outside of that. So I think what he did carry that similarly I carry is this aspirational reality of things being pretty attainable. So if that includes different genres and getting down with different studios and really leaving my mark within this place, not only as an actor, but also as a producer and a director, then I'm all for it, and humbled that I'm even given the opportunity to be asked that question by you. It's humbling for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I was going to ask about the Gil Scott-Heron project, because I know that's been a dream project for you. And I also love, and, you know, we talk about this all the time, how you're one of the few people that I've ever met that, you know, as a professional athlete and also would leave the football stadium to then go and perform poetry. Like you're very comfortable in both of those worlds. And so it just feels so right that you bring this icon to life in this way. So where is that project right now?
It's in the conversation that you and I last had included in me responding about where it was Gil's son. Okay. And so Gil's son and I were involved in it at one point. And Gil's son, we had the rights up to a point, or I got the rights from him. He granted the rights to me. And then we're past that period now. So we kind of got to dive back in, figure out what that smells like, and then see whether it's going to be he and I doing it together, or if I'm going to do an adaptation of that which, you know, he owns the rights to. We have to figure it out. But I'm not necessarily concerned, because I do believe that at the end of the day, and Joe Louis is seemingly like it's going to go down as well. Me working on a project being Joe Louis, yeah, for sure.
What? Come on, that's amazing.
Which would be incredible. But I feel like, you know, when you look at Gil Scott, and not that Joe Louis is not this for me, it's the reason I mentioned Joe Louis, but when you look at Gil Scott, we do think about Malcolm. And I say I'm not concerned because Denzel was made for that. I definitely understand what people mean when they say no one else could play Ghost. I get it, but Ghost is a fictional reality, Kelley, right? How many people have said, Kelley, please tell him to come back to life? And you're like, well, I just talked to he's totally living.
Right. O's good, by the way.
Totally living. He's like on the beach right now, actually. I just saw it. But the reality is Denzel was truly made for the biopic nature of that. And so was obviously our dear King T'Challa, and that being Chadwick made to play James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, you know, Jackie Robinson, the third one, right, of biopic nature. But I feel like Jamie Foxx has to be included in this conversation. And he talked to me years ago and said, you know, that thing was shelved forever. And I would have been too young to play it when it started in its inception. And then all of a sudden, it's ready to come off the shelf when I'm the right age to play it. And when Jamie said that to me, I absolutely understood, like, I'm okay. I'm definitely going to press, you know me, but I'm okay in terms of believing that Gil Scott, you know, and me bringing that to life is absolutely going to happen for sure.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to put some good juju in the air for that one, for sure. You know, a lot of people watching this interview probably watched a recent special you did for TV One, and I felt like you shared some really intimate details that perhaps you hadn't shared before. Why is now the right time for you to be as unfiltered as you have been lately?
I mean, Deion Sanders said to me 2 days ago, he said, I don't even know if the camera, in terms of it capturing all that's inside of me, how did Deion word it? He said, I don't know if you can get out all that's in you on a screen.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, then in my mind, I'm like, well, I guess interviews can help that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't necessarily get the scripts that will allow for the totality of who you are to come out, but pieces of that can come out. And you can't really tell those stories via a character. But what I can do is to say, I'm someone who figured out what Pauletta Washington meant when she said, Omari, you must never give up. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
And so if I tell the story of what that smells like, that in spite of, I kept going. In spite of, I kept climbing. In spite of, I forgave.
Coming up next, Big Frida.